head on this one. Have you seen the new argument about 2 + 2 = 5?
I have not.
You seen this, Hunter?
No. I used to say that as a joke whenever I would tell people I don't know how to do math.
I don't want to tell you the reasons they're arguing about why it's not 4, but I'll give you a reason that their reasoning why it is 5. If you round numbers, okay?
Oh no, I wanted to say round, but I didn't think it would come to this.
They'll say if you're rounding numbers and you say 2.4 plus 2.4, you would round them down and say that's 4. But if you add them together and then round them, it equals 5.
Well, 2.4 and 2 is not the same number. So, I mean, that's kind of dumb.
I'm just telling you what
Yeah.
they say.
Who's they?
You don't want to know who they is, Tom. The same people that are destroying our country. They say these things. That's all you need to know.
What does that even mean?
It's they.
I was about to say, Tom made the best point ever. He said, it's not 2 if it's 2.4.
It's not 2.
But you round it.
2.4.
Yeah, but you round it.
No,
Listen, I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you what the argument is.
You don't round anything. What do you mean round it? That's the stupidest thing
You
I've
only
ever heard.
round it. You only round it if you're told to.
You know when
round
you
it.
round things when the teacher tells you to round.
The argument is, Tom, if you put them in
That's
certain
what I'm
percent,
saying.
you know, the parentheses and the boundaries and all that. I'm just telling you guys
My God,
these
guys,
these
math
circles
is
they'll
hard,
jump through
you know?
nowadays.
the number 2 plus the number 2 is 4. And you know if you got 2 points something else, then now we have a different number. So. I mean, it's just dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm just letting you know that's where we're at.
Whatever.
Same people that want to get rid of the North Carolina Tar Heels is the same people coming up with that math, Hunter.
Oh, speaking of North Carolina Tar Heels, that's what they're called, though. I read an article today before we went live that it's like the Tar Heel Tribune or something. It's like the newspaper that they write for the kids there.
There's a Daily Tar Heel, and there's the other one. Go ahead.
Yeah, that might be it, but I can't remember which one it is. But the writers are going to stop referring to the athletes as student athletes because that's what they were. That was why they were labeled student athletes to begin with. That's why they didn't have to be paid. They said that they're going to stop labeling them as student athletes and naming them, like calling them college athletes or just calling them athletes or just referring to them as students. I was like, really? Really? You're a newspaper. I mean,
That's
what's the
kinda
matter if you
trivial.
call them a student athlete or not?
That's
What
trivial.
is a rose but any other name? I'm somewhere in the ballpark with that.
A
quote.
rose by any other name would still smell as sweet, right?
It's still a rose.
Right.
And
It's a flat.
we've got this argument in a lot of things in our world today, Hunter, about be what you want to be or say what you want or what you are. You can call them, frogs if you want to. They're still student athletes or college athletes or
That's
whatever
what
you
I'm
want to
saying.
call them. Pancakes.
I'm
I don't
just saying-
care.
I understand what they're trying to do here.
Right.
Because they're probably trying to back that the kids should get paid because that's kind of what could keep them being called student athletes was what was keeping them from being considered amateur.
The Tar Heel,
players.
the University of North Carolina Journalism Department's what's keeping these kids from getting paid.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking about it. I was like, really?
It's so
Like,
silly.
what's it matter at this point? We've been calling them student athletes for God knows how long. Why does all of a sudden be like, I think it'd be more respectful if we call them college athletes or athletes or students.
This might be the
Like, come
dumbest. This might be the dumbest thing. This might be dumber than 2 + 2 is 5. This is just dumb.
I'm just saying, man. I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
What color
but
is
I
Bigfoot,
was like,
Tom?
Yeah. What color is Bigfoot? He's blue.
So on the way to the golf course yesterday, they have there's a gas station up there, and across the street in the woods, there's like a 7-foot tall Bigfoot, cardboard cutout. Like I guess he's wood. I don't know. But the only reason I noticed him this week was because he was somebody went out there and put a mask on him.
yeah, I got the story right here. UNC student newspaper will stop using the term student athlete in stories. It was created in the 1950s to deny football players workers' compensation. It is the Daily Tar Heel will use college athlete, or student as the context requires. we've been using this since the 50s, and all of a sudden it was like, I don't think it's PC to use it anymore.
No, but remember people used to say we call them student athletes because they're students first, right?
That's what it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what they want you to think.
Yeah,
They're
whatever.
pulling the wool over your eyes.
Like Cardell
Keep
Jones.
it
What did Cardell Jones? They didn't send me up here to do no school.
That's what he said. Yeah.
I think Rashad McCants said something to that nature too.
Yeah.
Man, that's one thing also, Hunter, that
They didn't recruit me to play school.
Well,
Yeah,
that's one thing
yeah.
that puts me off about Carolina a little bit. Besides all the things they've done, is the way they treated and handled Rashad McCants. They're calling him, he's the big snitch on campus, basically. But
Right.
somebody's got to tell the story at some point. And if it wasn't for Rashad McCants, the Tar Heels wouldn't have a championship. There's a lot of those Tar Heel fans love them some Raymond Felton and Sean May, but those two fat boys were out of shape. And Rashad McCants carried them to that title.
They were hot dogs. They
Huh?
were hot dogs.
Oh,
Sean May and Raymond Felton were hot dogs.
dang sure they were. They had the buns and everything.
But I would like to say,
Believe
let me say this. I remember what exactly Cardell Jones said. I didn't come to play school, is what he said. but, which is pretty awesome. But he did graduate from Ohio State in 2017 after making that tweet in 2012. So I think what happened, Hunter, is he grew up. He grew up.
It's crazy how that happens.
Grew
too.
up. I tell you what else he did for you. He got you a national championship.
He did.
Did he sign with the team?
He was drafted by the Chargers. It didn't work out there. And
He
then
was in the XFL.
That's what I was
quarterback
wondering.
in the
Since the
XFL.
XFL, has anybody
know.
else picked him up or anything?
He might.
I
You know
don't
what would be
believe
funny
so.
is if he went back to Ohio State as a professor of something.
Oh God.
That would be awesome.
Probably as a quarterback's coach, maybe, but
He might be
God,
a
he had a
professor of
cannon.
archaeology or something. You don't know. Let's
They
see.
used to call him because his number was 12. Used to call him 12 gauge because he
Yeah,
had a
12
freaking cannon
gauge.
of an
That's
arm.
right. He did. Let's see.
12 gauge.
Oh, yeah. I remember when he was third string and they brought him in the game. It's this Cardell Jones, a third string guy, throwing darts.
Yeah, he came in. What was it?
Yeah.
JT Barrett was the one that got hurt, and then
Yeah.
somebody else got hurt, and then Cardell Jones came in. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, there definitely is never a rebuild at Ohio State. It's literally just reload.
Yeah, Seahawks.
reload.
Seahawks was the last pro team he was with, Kevin. He is not currently with the team. Buffalo Bills, Chargers, Seahawks, the Defenders. He had his contract
The
terminated when the
Defenders.
league suspended operations April 10th, 2020. And he is now, I guess, unemployed. Somebody will give him a
Unless he-
chance, though. They ought to bring him up to Cleveland and give him a chance. Hometown hero. Maybe they'll bring
Well,
him
I'll
up
tell you
there.
I'll tell you where he won't be, Canada, because apparently they've got a lot of financial problems with the CFL right now.
Do they?
A lot,
Oh.
where the season might not even happen.
So what's the deal with the XFL now? Dwayne Johnson has bought him, and he's going to just what's he going to do? Just pull a Vince McMahon and finance everything himself?
I have no idea what his plans are for the XFL.
He
To
only paid
me-
$15 million for him.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he paid
gosh, how
$50
much are the
million
Dallas
guy.
Cowboys worth?
Dabo Swinney makes $9 million a year. So Dabo, in 2 years of coaching Clemson, could give every one of his players he's had the last 5 years a job. but we worried about there's no money in college sports.
Yeah.
But the college coach could buy the XFL in 2 years.
He's
Yeah.
got a partner and a lot of other people invested in this with him as well. Like, it's not just all him. He's got a business partnership. It's a woman. I can't quite remember her name. But if he went on, he did a video where he was giving a lot of credit to where he obviously is today. He said, I tried the NFL scene, got hurt, but ended up in the CFL. And to me, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to make the XFL, still keep the name and everything, but if he didn't try and make it a little bit closer to the XFL, or I'm sorry, not that, it's the CFL.
All right,
I
so
wouldn't be surprised.
quick math on that, Hunter. If they have 10 teams,
Yeah.
and each player's paid $50,000, it ends up being about $25 million, and he bought it for 15. So he needs someone else to, I mean, that's only half the players if you got 10 teams. So did they have 8 this year? I think is what it was.
Yeah, 8. They had 8.
So, like,
4
does
and
he
4.
own all the teams?
Right. I think that's how it's working. They don't have individual owners.
So
if he's
But
smart,
that's what
he
I
would
think
he
they
would
need to do.
Yeah, if he's smart, he would sell each individual franchise for like $5 or $10 million.
but why did
Yeah.
McMahon bail so quick?
It's one of those things from what I've heard or read, Tom. It's the guys in NASCAR, the guy that just Levine Racing who just closed it down. He said, and I quote, "I'm not going to shut down our family." I don't know if it was roofing or some type of business or hardware store, something of 61 years to struggle doing this. So does he want to take money out of his WWE coffers and take the value out of that? Remember, we can't play 2 seconds on YouTube without him valuing that. So it's one of those, from what I've seen, is that it's not worth the time and the money for him and his money. And then he's also getting sued by the other owner, Oliver Lutt, Andrew's dad. So he's probably get sued for more than he just sold the $15 million for. It's almost like he's just getting totally out of it, like altogether. I think he thought he was going to make a big initial investment and then make a big set, and maybe even sell the league or his half for that $150 million. And then all this just he couldn't have been any worse timing for poor Vince McMahon. We don't call him poor, but
I think he's doing okay
for Vince McMahon.
He's 0 for 2 on football leagues, though, fellas. He's 0 for 2.
He is. I think Dwayne, because we got to remember, Dwayne, of course, is an entertainer first. We know that. But where he originally got his start, I mean, he was a football player. You know, he was at the University of Miami. He bounced around in the CFL for a little while before he went to wrestling, because the NFL, he got injured and it didn't quite pan out that way. So for him, he's got the football mindset and he's got the background to where he could be able to put together a pretty good league. The problem is Dwayne going to be able to have the people around him that is going to be able to help promote the league? Because it's going to be hard to get people to buy in on a third time, definitely. But I don't think it should be difficult if people understood, like, hey, this was completely out of Vince McMahon's hands, that it even failed in the first place. I mean, coronavirus shut down everything. Everything. They just didn't have the footing, obviously, like the NFL and everybody else has, where, if we miss a season, I think we'll be okay.
But he acted like he can't absorb that. Like Kevin said, this might be like a financial millstone around my neck. He's worth $1.8 billion. Kevin.
Yeah.
1.8 billion with a B. Give me a break.
I feel like
can't get rich giving away $100 million.
He could have done a restart. He could have done a season restart. I just know that their mindset and their plan was definitely not to compete against the NFL at the same time, because they know, like a lot of other sports know, if you're playing on the same day as the NFL, you're going to lose that battle. Seriously, like football is king. People say America's pastime is baseball. I'm sorry, but like football is king. That's just the truth.
Well, baseball was at one time. Yes. I think you would call it the pastime because there were so many more games to keep up with. But with football, there's only 16 games. But the news cycle for football now never ends. And I think that's what makes it the pastime. Because not only are you talking about the games, I mean, like when baseball's got 160 games, what are you always talking about? Well, you're talking about what the guy did last night. What we're doing with football is there's only 16 games. But how much have we talked about Dak Prescott's contract, Mahomes' contract, blah, blah, blah. And that's why it's the pastime, Hunter, because we never stop talking about it. Kevin pulls the plug on it on Saturday because he doesn't want to hear about some of this stuff. But really, if you turn on the media, that's all you hear about, what's going on in football.
They know what the exciting sport is and what draws all of the headlines. The headlines is either football right now or basketball, and that's because it's the big plays and it's literally a superstar driven league, especially basketball.
And when they're not, this is something else they talk about. Like I think the Bleacher Report came out with who they thought they ranked the offenses of each team 1 to 32. Did you see this, Hunter? They ranked the offenses 1 to 32, and then like somebody else says, "You're full of crap. This is what they really are," and it just goes on and on and on, and that's what creates this. It's just, and it's we might not even play a football game.
I think we should start a show. It's just nothing but bad predictions. because people will argue to the death about their prediction, and then you never hear about it the next day, being like, well, that was stupid. Why are we asking about this weekend's game? I was like, it's like when Andre picked the Q Foundation to beat Chris, we quit asking him any other questions. And Shannon had an 80-point. Yeah, what a bad take. How about Hunter when Shannon had that 80-point swing on a pick?
What do you mean?
He picked something on the board for one team to win by 40, and the other team won by 40. So we were like, you missed that one by 85 points, Shannon.
Oh.
Go ahead,
I'm just saying that's why I think that the XFL could really, if there's a good leadership around it, obviously with The Rock and his ownership group that's in there with him, and if they could get individual owners, that's what I mean by like football is king. You can't, like when Terry used to poo-poo it, I'm just saying like how you can't have football in the spring. Of course you can. People starve until football season because they want it so bad they make up stories the whole off season and people still pay attention to it.
Terry
so
just
what would it do in the spring?
Terry just poo-poos it because we all like it. That's why he poo-pooed it. That's all right.
It makes sense to me. I asked Terry one time, I was like, Terry, you mean to tell me you would much rather sit there and watch an NC State versus NC State spring game where no one's really trying over an XFL game? And he was like,
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yes. I would rather watch that. No,
it would cost $2.5 million to pay for a team. You could easily get Mike Trout could buy 9 teams.
He'd probably have better success with that than
Patrick Mahomes could buy a few teams. All right, so Hunter,
better if it was. I'm just saying it would work better single ownership because then it wouldn't come down to the league to finance all 8 to 10 teams that have the 50+ players.
Right.
That's what makes the NFL work.
I agree with you. Yeah, if you find some, I mean, it's not even that much to invest. Is what my point is. Jordan could buy 4 or 5 teams. Somebody could buy if all you need is $5 million. If the whole league for 8 teams sell for, $15 million and all the rights and everything. I mean, how much does a franchise cost? $1 million, $2 million tops. I mean, come on. So real quick.